Hi everyone, Fraser here from the Most Dangerous Podcast. If you've been enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps us to reach more people like you who love the show. Also, you can follow us on Instagram at The Most Dangerous Pod and join the conversation on Facebook at The Most Dangerous Podcast. For those of you who want to go the extra mile, we're on Buy Me a Coffee. So if you'd like to support the show with a small donation, it would mean the world to us. And if you have any suggestions or feedback and want to get in touch, you can email us at jamesandfraserpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Most Dangerous Podcast. I'm James and we are continuing our series of the 7 deadly sins. This tonight is lust I've picked. Over on that side is Fraser. How you doing, Fraser?
I'm good, thanks James. Yeah, how are you?
I'm all right, yeah. What I've got to tell you. Oh, I've got a bit of a story for you.
Go on.
So I was in work this week on Tuesday and I'd had my lunch. I got like one of them meal deals.
Mm-hmm.
Got like a Subway. It wasn't like a Subway sandwich, but it was like a sub cheese and ham sub type thing with crisps and a drink. So I finished that and I sat back down at my desk at around about 2:00. And I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden, my stomach starts going. I was like, "Oh no, don't know." And I sat there for a bit longer, and I could feel my stomach like filling up. And it wasn't like the shits, it was gas, right?
Shit.
And I was like, oh, no, this is getting bad. And I sat there for a bit longer and it was like, you know, like, I was like, I've got to get rid of this somehow. Like, I've just got to, like, I don't usually like going to the toilet in work because it's a long way from home and things could possibly go wrong. So I just kind of try and avoid it. So anyway, I just had to. So I sort of stood up and I dashed to the toilet. I was walking down the sort of down the office, like like one of them hovercrafts, and I burst into the toilet and I checked. It's only like a small toilet. It's like 3 urinals and 2 cubicles. And I was like, oh shit! I'd look around, like no one here. All right, so jumped into the cubicle. Like it took my trousers down just in case, because you never know.
Yeah. And
sat in the toilet and I let out this like ripping fart, like a good like few seconds, and afterwards, like after I sat down, I went, "Oh fucking hell!" And then in the cubicle next to me, I just heard someone go,
"Got it."
So I was like, "Oh no!" So then there was a bit of a panic. Then, so I was like, "Right, okay, I've got to get out before him, so he doesn't see who I am, or I can wait until he finishes, and then I can go out after he's left."
Ah, but he could wait outside.
Yeah,
to see who it was.
I know. So I sort of stood there. Well, I sort of froze for like 10 seconds. I was like, I'll try to sort of think about what to do. I thought, right, fuck it, I'm going for it. So I just like dashed out, washed my hands because didn't need to. It was only a fart, but never mind. And then I just like quickly just ran out of the toilet. So yeah. So I don't know who it was, but it was pretty bad.
Well, you talk about eating like a sub and it doing that to you. Starbucks do a 5 cheese and truffle oil toasty.
Oh, for real, yeah.
I can only retain that in my body for about 20 to 30 minutes. It works better than anything the doctor's ever given me.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It might have been like something in the bread or something.
Yeah.
Might be some sort of reaction. But I knew it wasn't like, the shits. Yeah. But it's just I can't sit there like because the gas was building and building up. And I was like, if I sit here, I'm going to do a massive fart in front of everyone. I've got to go. So yeah, that's been my week. Very eventful.
Cool. I was in trouble last week for having a bad arse, and the problem I've got is I've got sleep apnea, so I've got a breathing machine.
Oh yeah, Katie's got one of
mask. Oh, she. I think we've talked about this in the podcast
Have we?
before, haven't we? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure you said Katie's got one.
Well, she got one recently because she kept waking me up.
Yeah, you told me about that. Yeah,
Did I?
I don't know if it was on air or off air, but so basically, the air that I'm breathing's from under the bed because the machine sucks in air under the bed, brings it up a tube,
It's dust basically.
puts it into. Well, I mean, the house is relatively clean. So I did a fart in bed, and I thought that's okay. It doesn't smell, but I was smelling air from under the bed,
Right, yeah.
and didn't realise that it was absolutely howling. And I thought Laura was asleep. She wasn't, and it was. What's that smell?
Blowing fart in her face.
Yeah, so
Like Katie can't use hers at the moment because like it blows air into your face, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
The pressure's really bad at first.
Yeah, and she kept whenever she uses it, she wakes up in the morning like in agony because her stomach's just full of air. So like they've got like
that's funny, but like Violet Beauregard,
like just bloated. Like they've got her a new tube that she's going to try. But it's like really bad though. Like kind of doubled over, like, and then I go downstairs and I just hear like. I'm all right now.
Yeah, fine, grand. I can actually see her belly going down. It's a weird sensation because it just pressurizes like your lungs and stuff.
Yeah,
but I got used to mine.
It's pretty dangerous though, isn't it? Sleep apnea.
To have it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean the doctors basically. I've had it a couple of. I got it on my 40th birthday.
Happy birthday.
That was my birthday. Yeah, happy 40th. You've now got sleep apnea.
Yeah,
and
it causes like strokes and stuff and heart attacks.
Yeah, because you kind of stop breathing.
Just so you know.
But they put my little chip in the machine. They could take a little chip out of my thing, a little SD card, and put it in their computer, and they basically say, "Yeah, keep using it because it's helping." I go, "All right, cool," and I just keep using it. So.
I think once you start, you can't stop, can you? Really, unless you have some sort of operation to get rid of that little flap.
I could get fitter and lose a bit of weight and stuff, and that would probably make a big difference. But that involves effort.
Yeah, nobody likes effort.
No, I know. God, we must have bored the arse off the listeners up to now. Farting and breathing.
Even I'm bored.
So Lust. So we did Envy last week, and I've been wondering what you were going to do this week. So it's Lust.
Lust, yeah. So I was looking at a few things. I was looking at like Crimes of Passion, but they're all kind of a bit boring because all they are a bloke goes home, finds his wife shagging someone else, and shoots them, and they're all pretty much the same. So I've got to kind of sort of pick something else. Okay. I think we mentioned last week a lot of these kind of cover a lot of the others as well. So this does have an element of lust in it, but I think there's potentially some greed there, some other stuff. It's the story of Victoria Cilliers. Have you heard of Victoria Cilliers? It's quite a recent one. Yeah,
right, it's not a name I know.
No, it was in the news, but it's quite recent, 2015. So we're going to set the scene, first of all.
Right, go for it.
Okay, so imagine soaring thousands of feet above the earth. Okay, your heart's racing as you prepare to leap into the open sky. All right, for a skydive. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now imagine mid-descent, as you're hurtling towards the earth, you discover that your parachute won't open. It's a bit of a nightmare. Now, this nightmare for Victoria became a reality. Now, what we're going to look into over the next 20, 30 minutes, we're going to establish if it was an accident or was it something far more sinister.
Right. Am I going to spoil it by saying are we talking about a death here? Did she splat or?
Well, I mean, what's the point in telling you that now whilst I've just done the little introduction thing? Right. Okay. The whole point of it is to kind of like say, if I say, you'll just not listen and sit back and I'll just be reading a story.
That was the plan.
So you'll have to listen to find out. So Victoria Cilliers is described by friends and family as compassionate, strong-willed and devoted to her loved ones. A mother of 2 young children, she was known for nurturing nature and determination. Professionally, she worked for the Ministry of Defence and was an was accomplished in her field as a physiotherapist. Her passion for skydiving showcased her adventurous spirit and love for challenging herself. Victoria was disciplined and skilled, with over 2,600 jumps to her name at the time of the incident, making her a seasoned veteran in the sport. She was a qualified AFF instructor.
2,600 jumps?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Parachute jumps?
Parachute jumps.
Wow, that's a lot. That if you did one a week, that's quite a lot of weeks.
That's
quite
a lot of weeks. Yeah, yeah. She'd been doing it for
10
years
or something.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a hobby, basically. You do one a week or whatever. She just loved it.
1 week's 50 a year, isn't it? It's 2 years is 100.
Yeah. So
she
was 35 when this took place.
Mm-hmm.
So, 10, 15 years, doing it for forever.
Yeah, it's like a few a week. That's a lot of fucking parachute jumps.
Yeah. Well, as I say, she was a qualified AFF instructor.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what AFF instructor is? Of course you don't.
Airplane falling something.
Close, yeah. But you're not sort of highly knowledgeable in skydiving like I am now.
No.
It's an accelerated free fall instructor.
Oh, right.
So, do you know, have you ever seen these videos of like, where there's loads of them and they sort of form a ring and they sort of hold hands? And usually you'll see like somebody sort of outside the ring who's kind of like just sort of watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she would be that person who, like, if anyone was struggling or they couldn't link up or whatever, she'd come in and like help them hold hands and stuff.
Yeah, because I've seen it. They can like direct themselves. They're almost like flying, aren't they?
Yeah, so that's how like skilled she was. She could kind of like come in and help him and figure out if anyone was struggling. She could just dive in and sort of fly, basically. Kind of mad.
Before you move on, have you seen the video? You know these like extreme things where you've got a harness and you've got like a hook on your back and you can do high ropes and stuff. Like you go on like a high ropes course through the trees and you're harnessed up.
Yeah,
but like in like New Zealand and China and stuff in the big mountains, you do it like with like a 2,000-foot drop, walking over like rope ladders and
I've seen
on the sides of mountains. There's this video, and I think it's in Asia somewhere, and this guy runs across like these boards. The boards are like a couple of foot apart, just little skinny boards, and it's a couple of 1,000-foot drop, and he runs from one side to the other, and as he jumps off the last board onto the land, his hook comes off because it was never on properly.
Yeah.
It's like,
I've seen that, and he just picks it up and looks at the guy and like,
what the fuck?
yeah. Imagine.
Yeah,
There's loads of mad stuff like that. Like, I don't trust like bungee jumping, even like roller coasters kind of freak me out a little bit. I saw a thing. Did you see the guy in the news this week?
No,
I think it was in like Arizona or something.
Right.
And the roller coaster was going up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It might have been this week. I'm sure it was this week. It might have been something I watched on YouTube. Anyway, it was going up, it got to the top and he sort of realised that his bars weren't on.
Shit.
So he was like, right, he was doing this interview. He's like, right, I've got like 2 seconds to make a decision here. Either I kind of hold on for my life or I just get off. And he actually like just jumped out of the roller coaster. So it's like right at the top of the sort of peak bit.
Yeah.
Because it's just about to go down and go down the loops and stuff. Yeah, and he just stepped off and it wasn't attached properly. Imagine if he'd stayed in, he'd fall out, wouldn't he?
I don't know. I mean, the momentum, it's like the G-force pushes you in your seat. But
yeah, this was a sick roller coaster though. It's like going upside down and all sorts of like corkscrewing and shit.
I wouldn't take the chance.
No. He's just like in those 2 seconds that we're getting out.
Probably did the right thing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was this week. Might have been a dream. Let's go on. Right, where are we? So Victoria Cilliers, she's a very seasoned skydiver.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on Easter Sunday, April 5th, 2015, Victoria Cilliers went skydiving at the Nether Avon. See, I don't know how to say this. It's Nether Avon, but I don't know how it's pronounced. I think it's like Nether Avon airfield. Yeah. Do you know? Ever heard of it?
No.
It's an airfield. It's in Wiltshire. It's a well-known site for the sport.
Okay. So
she planned a routine jump from 4,000 feet. This is a height that she'd be more than comfortable with due to her experience. The The actual jump itself had been a gift from her husband, and this is Emile Cilliers, and we'll come on to talk about him shortly. Now, they've been experiencing some marriage difficulties.
Here we go.
Victoria, she saw this as kind of an opportunity to reconcile and have a nice day out. Now, I'm not sure if he was going to do the jump as well, but it basically is just like, we've not been getting on too well. Let's go and do some shit together. So this is Easter Sunday on the 5th of April. Now, initially, they were going to do the jump on Saturday, but the weather was so bad that they had to postpone. Now, the weather was still bad on the Sunday, so they decided to do something called a hop and pop.
Right.
Heard of a hop and pop before?
No.
No, see, I told you, I know all about skydiving now. So initially they were going to go up to 13,000 feet and do a jump from there, because you can free fall for a bit and then do a parachute. Hop and pop is where you go to about 4,000 feet. You jump out and then you have to pull your chute within sort of a couple of seconds after jumping out as soon as you're clear. So because the weather was so bad and she liked doing it, she's like, right, we'll just do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what they did. And as she jumped from the plane, disaster struck. So she pulled a cord and Victoria's main parachute failed to deploy properly. Instead of opening fully, the lines had been deliberately twisted, causing the parachute to malfunction.
Right.
When she attempted to use her reserve parachute, it also failed. Investigators later discovered it had been sabotaged by the deliberate removal of something called slinks. I think that's like the attachments between the something or another. With both parachutes compromised, Victoria fell rapidly towards the earth. However, the partially deployed reserve parachute slowed her descent slightly. She landed on a freshly ploughed field, and she actually survived.
Shit.
From 4,000 feet. I mean, she wasn't in a good place.
No, I can imagine, yeah. Broken ribs and stuff.
A broken spine, a broken pelvis, some broken ribs, and internal organ damage.
Shit.
So that's our Victoria. She jumped out of a plane for 4,000 feet. I think I've got... Hang on a sec.
Was the freshly ploughed field an advantage to her?
Yeah, because it's soft.
Yeah, right.
If she hit concrete, I don't think she'd be here today. I did write down the speed that she's going at. But it's
pretty quick.
Yeah, I got 2,000 kilometers an hour, but that can't be right.
Not a chance. She'd be quite deep in that field, I think.
So that's what happened. So it became quickly apparent quite early on that Victoria's parachute had been tampered with.
Right.
And like any sort of investigation like this, the first port of call is the husband. Mm-hmm. So this is Emile.
Okay.
So Emile Cilliers is often described as charming, confident, and manipulative. Whilst his outward demeanour painted a picture of an accomplished and dedicated man, those who knew him better uncovered a dark side marked by deceit and self-interest. He was known for his ability to present himself as reliable and trustworthy, qualities that allowed him to build relationships and gain trust of those around him. However, beneath his exterior, Emile exhibited narcissist tendencies, a lack of empathy, and a willing to exploit other people for gain. These traits ultimately culminated in his shocking and calculated betrayal of his wife, Victoria. So that's Emile for you. Mm-hmm. He was a sex addict as well, so that's...
Right, okay.
That's the thing.
Isn't every guy, though?
No, there's like a difference between like, kind of like, yeah, I'll have some of that, to like, like going out to find it, like regardless of like wherever you are or who you're with or whatever.
Under 50 and clean, that'll do.
Under 50, debatable.
I suppose, yeah.
We are getting on a bit now. We're getting on a bit now, aren't we? Emile was born in South Africa, but later moved to the UK, where he built his career in the British Army. He was a sergeant in the Royal Army Physical Training Corps. Oh, fucking that is PE teacher. PE teacher in the army. He was responsible for physical fitness and training programs of soldiers. There you go, told you.
He's the one that goes, hup, 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 hup.
Left, right,
Makes
left,
them
right.
run. Yeah.
His career lent him an air of authority and respectability, but his personal life was far more chaotic. He struggled from significant financial problems. See, I told you this sort of runs into greed and things like that.
Yeah.
So he was always broke. He had mounting debts from reckless spending and poor money management. And he engaged in a series of extramarital affairs.
Right.
Maintaining relationships with multiple women at the same time. And even including one that he claimed to love more than his wife. Wow. What a nice guy.
Yeah, it's a real stand-up pillar of the community.
A real catch.
Yeah.
And sex addict. I just want to hammer that home, just because I've kind of crowbarred this in a little bit. So just a sex addict. So I need glasses, mate. I need to book an eye test. I've got some reading glasses somewhere.
I'm 2 years overdue because basically there's a pair of glasses I want at 200 quid. Until I can afford them, I'm not getting any new glasses.
Yeah, just get the ones you want. I got some off Amazon for like £1. Okay, so we're going to look at the husband Emil's suspicious behaviour here. Okay, so he's in financial trouble. He was drowning in debt, and he'd recently taken out a significant life insurance policy on Victoria just months before the incident.
Oh, just months. Yeah,
just months.
What's the cooling off period on it?
I think you should get this, love.
Yeah.
Then there were the affairs. Yeah, multiple affairs. Emil had been unfaithful with several women, including one he'd been seeing just days before Victoria took the jump. In one of the most damning pieces of evidence, Emil had been the last person to handle Victoria's parachute just days before the jump, and he also insisted on packing it for her. The perfect crime.
See, this has been running through my head. If she's this like accomplished parachute jumper and trainer and stuff, I would have always thought someone like that would just check their own parachute before they do it.
I don't think it's that easy. I don't think it's like just checking a backpack. I think,
right.
You should think of the size of the things.
There's a lot of trust involved there then.
Yeah, well, the parachutes, they're actually kept, so you've got this big centre that does these skydiving things, and the parachutes are kept in an area that anyone can access, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's why it was quite difficult to prove he was guilty.
Yeah.
So anyone can access it, but I mean, like staff and jumpers, basically, not just you can just walk in and start tampering with stuff. They're on like pegs in this room,
yeah.
And even though anyone can access them, you'll be seen. Someone will see you accessing these parachutes. Right, if you go over and start messing about, someone will go, "What you doing there, lad?" So. This is where it kind of sort of starts to fall down for Emil.
Cool.
So on the day of the first jump, the Saturday, staff and sort of members within the club saw Emil take Victoria's parachute into the toilet with him. And then he was in the toilet for like 20 minutes or something, and like it does come sort of later on. So when the police are doing investigations, they see, like, they look at the CCTV camera and stuff, and they're like,
"Did he come out with a pocket full of them slinky springs or whatever it was missing?"
It's like, you're right there. Do you need some toilet paper in there and a meal? Okay. So he took the pack in there, and that was the Saturday. If you remember, they got cancelled on the Saturday and left it on the Sunday. And what usually happens in those circumstances is you leave your pack there, and then you go home, and then you sort of come back. He took the pack with him,
right,
on the Saturday day or that night after they couldn't do the jump, and then brought it back the next day. So I'm guessing it's kind of like so no one checks it, or maybe
was he a jumper too?
Well, I said at the beginning, I don't know. I'm guessing he was. I mean, surely, like,
because it'd be weird if he wasn't. Why he'd be knocking about with her parachute? I mean, that's pretty blatant, really, isn't it?
And I think it's one of those things as well. If you start dating someone who does that sort of stuff, at some point they're going to go, "Do you want to go? Do you want to go?" True. Yeah. It's not because she's like obviously really into it. Yeah. She's been doing it for the best part, most of her life, by the numbers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think he's got to have been sort of into it as well. So
Yeah.
and knowing what he's doing. I mean, even to tamper with it. Like if you give me a parachute and said, "Yeah, I messed that up," I wouldn't really know what to do.
I know.
So yeah, he must have some knowledge of it. He must be quite into it himself.
Cut the strings, I suppose.
Yeah, but even then, but even if you did that, you wouldn't know how to get it back into the pack.
Yeah, true.
You'd be all over the place. You'd just be like, wrapped up in this big parachute. Like, what are you doing?
It's like those little soldiers you get. You only get one go out of them, and they're never the same, are they? Little plastic things with the parachutes.
Yeah, I remember when I was about 7, I got one of them for Christmas. I was at my auntie's house, and I dropped it like over the banister. And it was like the first time. And as it was going down, my auntie's cat just like jumped on it.
As we know, I'm like a massive animal lover, and I don't understand why I find this funny. But have you ever seen the videos where like a couple have found a little baby bird and cared for it and stuff, and then as they release it in the wild, like a big hawk comes down and catches it out of the sky, and
sure, that's
kids with like butterflies, and the dog eats them, and
My favourite one will always be that Christmas Day one with the fairy things. There's nothing to do with animals, but it's kind of like a flying thing. It like goes up and then just straight into the fireplace. It's so funny.
It's funny though, but I mean,
it's like my heart like melts there a little bit. It's like, no, poor girl. Like, but
you think of their, what shit her parents probably had to go through that day.
Yeah,
still funny as fuck. It's not my kid.
So he took it home that night once it was cancelled. So police are investigating him because it's all a bit weird, and they quickly revealed the parachute lines were deliberately twisted, rendering the main parachute useless, as we discussed. So he's twisted all the wires and rope, string, whatever. And the reserve chute had been sabotaged by the removal of these slinks, which meant it couldn't deploy properly. But I did say, like, when she was falling, it did deploy a little bit, so it might have slowed her down. So when she hit the ground, it wasn't as forceful, but still, fucking hell. Don't want that, do you?
No.
So the police are running around. They're trying to find or prove Emil's guilt. I mean, it's difficult to do because it could just be an accident. Yeah. You never know. But Emil's strange behaviour didn't stop there. Just days after the incident, whilst Victoria was fighting for her life in the hospital, Emil started sending flirtatious messages to one of his mistresses. So when the police found this out, they were stunned. But so he's like flirting. His wife's like on death's door. He's like, "Hey, babe, you did fancy a parachute jump?" So as they moved through the investigation, they revealed several incriminating factors. They built this profile against Emil. Number one, it's the financial motive, as we discussed. Emil was deeply in debt, owing tens of thousands of pounds due to poor financial management and reckless spending. And then obviously, like we said, the insurance policy had recently taken out an insurance policy under Victoria's name.
Was she aware of it? Do you know?
I think you kind of have to be, don't you? Unless you forge the signature.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But even so, I mean, to be honest, Katie was asking me to take out a life insurance quite recently, to be honest. I was a bit like, she's like, "Oh, maybe you should."
I'm well insured. My family are so much better off if I'm dead. Yeah.
I mean, I've got one through work, but I should probably get one sorted. But yeah, she was kind of like pushing me a bit, and it made me kind of go, "No, I'm not fucking doing that. You'll strangle me with a guitar string or something."
When I was saying about the cooling off period, when I signed up for this insurance, there's like something like 14 days before it kicks in. And I remember like every day driving home being like super cautious and stuff like that. Be like, imagine if I died, like the day before your policy kicks in.
Oh no, that'd be devastating.
Yeah.
I think not for you, you'd be dead, so it doesn't matter. But
yeah, true. Yeah, doesn't make any fucking odds to me.
And that's the other side of it as well, isn't it? It's like, well, I don't care. I won't be here. So I'm not spending like £10 a month to look after my family.
Yeah, true.
No, I'll get it sorted. I'll sort it out. The older you get, the more expensive it gets as well. So
I know.
And Emil, he was also secretly transferring money from Victoria's account to his own, discover his debts. She did pick up on this at some point and kind of told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's skint. And then the lust thing, he was having many affairs, meeting people on, what was it, 2015? Maybe Tinder. Doesn't say that here, I'm guessing. One of his mistresses, Stephanie Gollier, told investigators that he had promised to leave Victoria for her.
Right.
So yes, he was in very balls deep, you could say. His casual, detached behaviour after Victoria's fall, such as texting his mistress and downplaying the incident, raised further suspicion about his emotional investment in their marriage. That's what it says here. Now, this is a good one. So during the investigation, detectives uncovered another disturbing incident just days earlier. Emil had tampered with the gas valve in the family home where Victoria and their 2 children were inside. The intention was to cause a gas leak, which would have resulted in either an explosion or the lot of them gassing him, basically. Like.
Yeah, it's bad enough to do it to his wife, but kids as well.
Kids as well, yeah. No, but his kids. He'd been previously
his own kids.
Yeah, so he'd had a previous marriage. I think he had 4 kids with that marriage, and then they split up because he was a motherfucker and he was sleeping around and shit. Mm-hmm. And then he got married to Victoria, and I'm sure they had 2 kids. So so he messed around with the gas valve, turned it on basically, and just what's that noise, Emil? Nothing, dear. Victoria smelled the gas and raised the alarm and avoided the disaster. But that's just days before.
It's just the kids. Like, I know someone, and I can probably talk about this now because he's dead, but I know someone that one of his ex-wives, she thought he was cheating. And, I mean, he claims that he wasn't. Whether he was or not, I'll never know. But she thought he was cheating, and she put their kids in the back of the car and drove down the wrong way of the motorway.
Killed them?
Yeah. Her and the kids.
You know this person?
To punish him. Yeah.
That's horrific, man. I mean, like, she didn't even know either. It's just an accusation. Like, well, she might have had evidence, but even
there's a fair chance he probably was. I mean,
but even so, like, go kill yourself, don't kill them.
That's it. It's the kids.
Yeah,
should have been better killing him.
Yeah,
why punish yourself? You know.
Yeah,
but it's like the kids. These 2 innocent kids just get, brought into it for what reason? You know?
I hate that stuff, man. It makes me really sad. But that was happy ending in this one, though. No kids were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Just some poor farmer's ploughed field had to be reploughed.
I know, what a pain for him. Never mind the broken spine and pelvis of Victoria.
Dent in his field, collecting water.
Like, can you imagine, though, like falling from 4,000 feet? That's going to take some time, isn't it? You're talking a good few minutes there. And after you realise that your parachute's not opening, you're in the air going, I'm dead. I'm going to die here. I'm going to die. It's just horrendous. That's what I can never understand. Like, people like suicide, people who commit suicide, perhaps sort of warning at the start of this, when they jump off buildings, like really tall buildings, because it's a long time to.
It is, but I suppose their state of mind is they want to die, so they're not really worried.
I guess so, yeah. Right, okay, let's carry on. So, Emil, he was skint, he was a shagger, and he tried to kill his family previously. He's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
And this is sort of ongoing. I think they might have investigated other people, but let's be honest.
It was him. Yeah.
It's clearly him, isn't it? So, in light of the overwhelming evidence, Emil was arrested and charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. So not just the parachute thing, he got done for the gas valve thing as well.
Yeah.
So, and do you know how they found him? I didn't write this down, but I saw it in a video that I watched. He cut his hand when he was like doing the gas valve. He must have sort of like, and they found his blood on the valve tap.
Shit, so they knew it was him.
Yeah, so that's how they linked that to him. So 2 counts of attempted murder and reckless endangerment. No shit. You know, just do the first one. It's fine. During his trial in 2018, prosecutors described Emil as a manipulative individual who saw his wife as an obstacle to his financial freedom and romantic aspirations. Lust. They argued that he meticulously planned her murder to make it look like a tragic accident. The defense claimed Emil was innocent, no shit, suggesting that the parachute failure was due to negligence or a manufacturing defect. However, the evidence of sabotage combined with the motive and prior gas valve incident convinced the jury. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, on the 15th of June 2018, Emil Cilliers was found guilty on all charges. His sentence was life imprisonment with a minimum term of 18 years, marking him as one of the most cold-hearted and calculated criminals in recent history. Mm-hmm. And that is the story of Victoria Cilliers.
Wow. What a twat he really was.
It's nasty, that, isn't it?
But like,
for nothing though, as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's the thing with murder, though. It's always money and shagging. That's all. That seems to be. It's either sexy or money. Sexy money.
Yeah, there was a murder I saw with Laura. She likes to watch a lot of these programs where someone's killed and they investigate and all that. In fact, I was actually saying to her, isn't it weird that human nature is attracted to like that sort of tragedy? I mean, if you actually look in the podcast world, so many podcasts are about like unsolved crimes and murders.
Yeah, there's loads of crime stuff. I mean, I watch them. I think they're quite good, quite interesting.
We love watching it. But there was one where I was sort of saying to her, it's weird that like it was a guy that had killed like a couple of women, but he hadn't had sex with them, hadn't done anything. Like,
well, you get the odd psycho. I was just going to say, you get the odd psychopath, don't you? Who just does it because they like doing it. But the majority of the time, it's because there's some gain out of it.
Yeah, there's like
I need to get rid of that person because I'm shagging that person, or I need to get rid of that person because I'm broke. And they
like you said, money or sex, isn't it?
And then every now and then you get a proper psycho who's just like, I just kill people because I like the taste of blood.
But like so often though, people think that money problems are a lot worse than they are, and I've sort of, as I've grown older, I could lose everything. Right, they can only take what you've got, so they come and take everything from you. And at the end of the day, you're just back to zero and you start again, and you just get a job and rent. It's like
it's easy to say when you've got stuff, though. I think like okay,
I've been there.
You just start again. You just start again, get a job, and blah blah. Yeah, but you've not been on the streets. Like you've not like had to sleep on a cardboard box or in a cardboard box in -3 degrees. Your zero is very different from other people's zero. So I'm not trying to take anything away from you. Like I'm just saying that there's different zeros.
But the alternative is death or life in prison, and you think, you might as well give it another go and try and sort things out. Where because you never really get away with it, do you?
Some people do.
Very rare. Yeah, it's very rare. But
I did.
I didn't. But like him though, I mean, if he's got all these other women on the side, then he walks away from her. He just leaves her.
No, but I think when these murderers and stuff, or like attempted murderers, they are narcissists, and they think like a lot of them are, and they think, oh well, I'm too smart to get caught. Like I'm never going to get caught. I'll make it look like an accident. I'll get away with it that easy. Surely it's the perfect murder type thing, because they believe. No, I think it said in his profile, like he had narcissist tendencies. He used the big I am, and there's videos you can watch. When I was sort of going through the research about 10 minutes ago, there's videos that you can watch where he does his police interview, and he's like he's a proper dickhead. Like, they're asking him questions. He's like, well, why are you asking me that? Like, what's it got to do with you? It's like, his wife's just like in the hospital with a broken body, and like he's like it's obvious why he's not assisting at the end of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But if he wasn't guilty, then he'd be like, yeah, well, I don't know, helping them every single step of the way. But yeah, it makes him look more guilty by being more of a knob, going, don't have to answer any of your questions and things like that. Yeah, so I think that you find that with a lot of sort of murderers where they're just kind of like, yeah, I'll get away with this easy because I'm me, I'm smart.
Yeah, and like I think we've talked about it before, they then get cockier and cockier, and then they like because they get not so much him, but like the sort of serial killers. The first one they get away with, and they think, oh, that was quite easy until they start getting a little bit like slack with it, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes they even
they're so narcissistic that.
Yeah, sometimes they even put on a display, don't they? Say, look, I want you to find this. I think like what was that one? The Zodiac Killer. They're taunting the police with letters and stuff like that. Like Jack the Ripper. I mean, in fact, I was tempted to do Jack the Ripper because that's kind of lusty because he sort of mutilated wombs and stuff. So I mean that was
prostitutes, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, but then that's been done 1,000 times. So I thought I'd pick something a bit sort of out there that you may or may not have heard of before, and kind of like say it's not really. A lot of these themes do seem to overlap the more I read into them. But I'm having that as lust. That's one of the motives.
It's probably one of the most problematic sins, really, lust, because it tends to affect a lot of other people.
Well, like I said, the crimes of passion are boring. So you should be my wife, bang, that's it.
Like gluttony, just that harms yourself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But like, God, do you know? Can you realise how much more productive the world would be if you took lust away?
Yeah, it'd be a bit boring though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I suppose we'd probably all die out, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Population just
like. But that's an interesting story. It's one I was never aware of. I mean, if it was on the news, I never saw it.
Yeah, you probably did, but it was quite a while ago. So anyway, there we go. Another week down. You're next.
So,
right?
Shit, yeah. So I've done envy. What have I got still? I've got sloth. And did we say I had greed?
Can't remember. Talk about it later.
Right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much, James.
All right, no worries.
Interesting.
Thanks for coming along and listening to my ramblings.
You close the show.
And that has been this week's Most Dangerous Podcast. And we do the things at the start, don't we? Well, just follow us. Give us a 5-star review. We'll see you next time. Bye, Fraser.
Laptop's not charging. There it is now. Plug wasn't in properly. This is the sort of shit that I'm fucking dealing with. I don't think you can see it. My wire. That's my laptop wire repair.
The dog had it.
Yeah.
A cat. One of the many animals.
But it was like fizzing when I plugged it in earlier, so I've had to like redo it.
Shit.
So, fucking living like poverty, man.
It's not quite. First world problems. I mean, laptop charge is fucked.